I'm going to show you a little bit in the system how the artwork integration connects with the SAP CTR and how we could use that for packaging bombs or the packaging in general, of course. So I would like to start in my personal folder, and there I already have a material corresponding to the packaging bomb. And to get a better overview, I would like to view the whole BOM, and therefore we have the so-called bills of material window, and I can simply drag and drop the material in there, navigate down through all the positions of the BOM, or I could simply expand all just by a one click, to get a better overview. And we see we have like a palette, our carton, we have a box, we have a can and a can blank. And I'm interested as a label designer in the can blank. So I simply drag and drop the material of the can blank into my folder. And in there, I can now investigate the so-called, in SAP language, linked documents. And we see that we already have a can blank in there, which is an NX document. And to make sure that this is the right document that I am searching for, I would like to view that inside of the SAP CTR just to make sure that I'm looking at the right document. So from my perspective, or this demo perspective, this one here looks quite good. It looks like it is the right document. And then now I would like to, open it in Siemens NX just as read-only to have a look on the 3D in there as well. And just as we've seen in the viewer, we see here that we have the can. Everything looks fine. And I also know, due to the icons in SAP CTR, that there was a corresponding drawing. And I have the possibility to open that drawing directly from NX, so I don't need to go back into SAP CTR. And now I can, take the real measurements for my label just straight out of the drawing. So we see, for example, that we have the surface of the can. We have a height of like 139 millimeters and a diameter of about 75 millimeters according to the drawing. And with that information, I can now or later on go into the label and choose the right size and so on. But first, I would like to switch back into SAP CTR. To create the label, I go via the context menu and then choose the corresponding entries, like I want to create an Adobe Creative Cloud document. In general, we support Illustrator, InDesign and Photoshop. In our demo here, I use the Photoshop document, and I could use a template, but in our case, I would say an empty document is fine. So I just need to enter a description for the document. In our case, it would be, for example, label SAP Soda. And I just hit OK, and the document gets created by the system. So we now see in my folder that there's the new document and no previews there so far. So to change that, we are now going to open the Photoshop document. I mean, of course, in its native application, which is Photoshop. As soon as Photoshop has now loaded, we see on the top right corner that there is our SAP ECTR logo. And behind that, our integration exists. So I can, drag and drop it everywhere where I want to, and it automatically aligns to the Photoshop window. And if I do a right click on it, all the functions are available. Now, I'm not the most talented person in Photoshop, so I already prepared a picture. And for this demo, I would just drag and drop it into there. But I mean, of course, you could do your work here just as you know. So like, creating your logo and stuff like that. But in our case, as I said, I would stick to the imported picture. So my work is done. I just hit save and close to save my art back into SAP. And then, of course, we have finished in Photoshop. And then we can switch back into the SAP CTR. In SAP CTR, we see directly that we now have a preview with the SAP logo. So it has changed automatically. And right now, the next step would be, how do we get this document into the packaging BOM? Therefore, the first step is we are going to create a material. We do that also via the context menu. All we have to do is we need to choose the material type. In our case, I would like to go with a FERT material as material type, and now we see due to the logo that the material has been created. We also see it in the linked objects. And the next step would be that we bring in this material into the BOM of the can, so that with the can blank and the label, and I just select the can in here, go again in our context menu, and there we have the possibility to change the bill of material. You see, we now directly just jumped into the SAP GUI, and in there I can now add the material number for the can label. So as I said, I just entered the material number, enter a quantity, and just set it to EA, hit enter. We now see that the label soda has been added. So all I need to do is save this dialog, move back into SAP ECTR, and in there right now I can, directly refresh the BOM, and now we see that we have the can, and underneath the can we have like the can blank and the label soda which we just created.